I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate the support. Thank you, everybody. Today's kind of a little bit of challenge with me. I'm a little bit sick under the weather, so forgive me if I cough, sniffle, or sneeze. It's been super windy. Last night it was like 20 to 30 mile per hour gust, maybe even 40 mile per hour gust, and there's dust all over the place. And yeah, my speech, my sinuses are definitely affected. Anyhow, in today's video, I want to address a huge issue, or actually a question, and this question revolves around private security and law enforcement, but it comes from this YouTube short video that I uploaded like 2 years ago. I made a YouTube short video regarding shot placement, and I gave the viewer 2 seconds to make a shot from a holster right into the dome, like right in here. And the drill is about 2 seconds. You should be able, from a holster position, even if you have a level 3 retention, Safari, Alien Gear, or Blackhawk holster, you should be able, at least in 2 seconds, make that well placement shot right here in the tee box. And that video has, I don't want to say it's gotten viral. Only one of my videos have gotten viral, I think, in terms of the security industry, right? Because if you look at all the larger channels in security, they're not too large when you compare them to the million subscriber channels, right? That are in other industries. But in security, that YouTube short having 20 or 30,000 views is pretty significant. And every single couple days I get a comment, right? Some people have told me that is murder. Okay, if you aim for the head, right here in the tee box, that is considered murder. Other people have commented, and I will leave a link in the description box. Give me a couple hours so you guys can watch the YouTube short video yourself, right? But anyhow, some people commented it's murder if you aim there. Others have commented that that's not where you aim. You aim right. You aim center mass, right? That's what they were taught. What people fail to understand is that is a YouTube short video. I only get like 5 seconds, right? 5 seconds to make a video. It could have been 6, it could have been 4 seconds, but that's all I have. Do you really think that I can explain the drill in 4 to 6 seconds? No, you can't. I mean, if you go to a reputable organization and when they explain the drill, its origins, its purpose, and explain the actual course of fire, what is it that they want you to accomplish, it's not 4 or 5 seconds. They spend a significant amount of time describing all of those details to you. Now, in the YouTube community, and this is good advice for those of you who are starting your own channel, try to make these 4 or 5 second videos, 3 second, 2 second videos, because they tend to get more views. They tend to get pushed in the algorithm more. Was that why I create the video? Well, that's one of the reasons why. A lot of people get attracted to these larger videos or to your channel because of they're attracted by the YouTube short videos. And unfortunately, that's what YouTube likes to push out. So I'm kind of like at a war with myself sometimes, teeter-tottering on the content that I'm pushing out there. The first question I ask is this content good for security or law enforcement or private investigations? The second question I ask is YouTube going to push the content through the algorithm? I can already tell you, whenever I talk about firearms, like today, it gets pushed all the way to the bottom. I see that in think Damien's channel as well. I mean, he got some really good videos on his platform, as it relates to like firearm stuff, right? But YouTube, they're not pushing out that content because it involves the F word, firearms. Hey, what's up, Angel? Anyhow, going back to the drill, right? Is that where we want you to aim every time? No. But in a life and death situation, if the T-box zone is the only area that's exposed, then yes. And those of you who have been commenting, I was taught to shoot at center mass, right? Well, it's center mass. You might have to just shoot at center mass at the body part that's presented to you. So if all you have is a foot, well, it's a center mass of that foot. If they're wearing body armor, there's a Dragon Armor drill, right? Well, center mass could be here. If this is exposed, up here, that's your center mass. Now, it's a skills drill, guys. Do they teach that at the different police academies? Like just that? No, it's a skills drill. If I could place a well-aimed shot right into that T-box within 2 seconds with a level 3 retention holster, I think I'm doing okay. And eventually that 2 seconds needs to be pushed to a second and a half, right? I think a second and a half is something to aim for, but eventually, heck, I'll take a sub-second draw any day, right? But you got to start somewhere, right? Don't bang yourself on the head if you can't get the 2 seconds. Because I was really irritated because I had difficulty getting to 2 seconds. I could get to, with minimal practice, I could get to 175, 1.6, right? And I've made it to 1.3, 1.4. It's just a matter of time. The last time I dry fired, to at least practice to get to that level, it was 2 or 3 days ago. I did some reps because I haven't been to a live range. I'll go on Friday, but that's what I'm practicing, right? But guys, it's a good level of skills. I mean, if you could get that shot, I don't understand why people are getting so upset and calling it murder. If you are justified to use lethal force in a situation, it doesn't matter where you aim, right? People are saying, well, if you aim like right between the eyes, you're gonna kill the person, you're gonna unalive them, right? Well, isn't your purpose to stop, right? You know, Colonel Jeff Cooper, the late Colonel Jeff Cooper, founder of Gunsight Incorporated in Paulding, Arizona, once said this, and I'm probably butchering his wonderful quote. He was saying that you shoot to stop, but a well-aimed shot right into the tee box with a .45 caliber tends to stop a lot of people. So let me say this once again, okay? You're supposed to shoot to stop. Colonel Jeff Cooper, who actually developed the Cooper Code, once said that a well-aimed shot right in that tee box, right between the eyes, tends to stop the person. Okay? Now, he's not saying at all, like he said that, right? But people aren't saying, oh, that's a murder, because the majority of the drills involve you aiming to the thoracic region. And if you don't believe me, look at the Gunsight camouflage target that's out there. It's, you know, look it up online, Gunsight target, and it's the brown, like beige and like white colorization. It's kind of like 10 different variations of brown, right? And it looks kind of camouflage, and that's the target that he developed into the late years, like I think years before he passed away. He got that target, and I actually ordered like 100 of them because I actually really like the target. But most of the time, you're aiming in the upper thoracic region. I mean, Colonel Jeff Cooper was definitely ahead of his time, but he did not just suggest that you aim between the eyes, right? Anyhow, that's all I have. I mean, if you're already justified to take the shot, it doesn't matter where you aim. Aiming at a leg is ridiculous. Aiming at their hand is ridiculous. If you have ever been in a life and death situation and had to put that finger on that trigger and orient that barrel at a human being, okay, you already know from past experiences that you don't have time to aim at an arm or a leg. And I will also say this, that if you have time to aim at an arm or a leg, the question is your life really in jeopardy? Because if your life is really in jeopardy, you're going to take whatever body part is available to you at that point in time. I mean, you have your preferences, but when your life is truly in danger, that's what you do. It's not like, I mean, in real life situations, things slow down, right? Most of you guys have been in real life situations where everything just slows down for you, and that's the human brain going to work, right? But the reality is you have like fractions of a second to react, seconds to react, and most people don't have time to aim at someone's hand or their legs. Now, I guess if you have the time, maybe do that, but I'll tell you this, that if you're aiming at an arm or a leg to disarm that person from that weapon that's going to kill you, if you miss, you're missing that golden opportunity for that threat to stop. Because if you miss, that's it. Whatever they're holding in their hand, it's going to be used to take your life. It's just something to consider. And I'm looking for your thoughts on that. And guys, also, if you could comment in the community section tab regarding a question I have for concealed weapon permits, it'd be super helpful if you can answer. Okay, onward with the second discussion that involves private investigations. Give me a second to take some water. All right, so D-Dog Tactical says that for in years he got a 0.80 at the sub-second draw. Look into USPA challenges. Yes, I agree with you. That's really fast. That's a really fast draw, right? And right on target. The question is, how far away of the target are you? Are you using an IPSA or USPA target? What type of holster you're wearing is actually significant. But that's a good draw. That's a really quick draw. That draw isn't developed. That draw stroke, that precision is not developed in 1 week. I mean, you have to keep practicing and practicing on it. It's very, very possible. Going back to Gunsight, when I was training over there, the guys are telling me that there's some LAPD guys, and I think that they were SWAT operators, easily within a second to a half a second from a level 3 retention holster, right? And you're talking about a team that is a full-time team that has a lot of training opportunities, right? I mean, even if you get one call out a day on SWAT, you actually might have time. You'll have time to train. Okay, I'm talking about pre-surveillance activities. This is for private investigators. So I was reading a magazine. I can't remember the name of it, and I was reading it a couple days ago. It talks about the importance of pre-surveillance activity. It talks about this person who's a PI. He does his investigation, pre-surveillance investigation, and he finds out that the target or the subject gets like 10 years in prison for attempted murder and has numerous like restraining orders placed against him, or a couple of restraining orders placed against him. He does a surveillance on it. He tried to do it on dead end street into work, so he ended up parking like outside of the dead end straight into like a parking lot where there wasn't any coverage. It was just him. And he parked in such a way, if the target came to him, he'd be blocked in. And that's what happened. Is the target blocked him in and tried to take him out of the car. He wasn't successful, and the target realized that the private investigator, his vehicle was unlocked, so he unlocked it, and they got into an altercation, right? And later on, the private investigator ended up filing charges. But anyhow, it goes back to pre-surveillance activities, guys. Who are you investigating? Okay, as a private investigator, you have access to a lot of awesome databases, and you can see the profile. I'll tell you that if you come across a target that did like 10 years for attempted homicide, you have somebody that has difficulty with impulse control, right? If this person finds out that you're surveillancing them, that person might be conducting attempted murder on you later on. It's just something to think about. Once again, you're doing 10 years of prison for attempted murder. There's a good chance that you had difficulties maintaining your impulse control. If you have numerous restraining orders against you, again, it goes to a subject or a target who has difficulty maintaining impulse control. And multiple TROs, or temporary restraining orders, that tells me that other people felt like their life was threatened by this individual. This is not a good thing. This is a case, I personally would not take a case like this. And it was all like, I think it was workers' comp fraud or something like that. Yeah, I think it's like a workers' comp fraud case. It is not worth it. I mean, if they're paying you $100 an hour and you're surveillancing this person. Now, some of you might be saying, some of you guys might be saying, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. Oh, hey, yeah, and Mr. Fusion's here. Hey, welcome, sir. Some of you might be saying, hey, you know what? Just go armed, right? Yeah, and California, private investigators are able to be armed. If you want to CCW, you got to have a CCW permit. Otherwise, you have to carry exposed. As a private investigator, I actually felt a little bit uncomfortable working armed. I worked unarmed and armed private investigator patrol. Radio's going off. Just got off work. Now, why do I get nervous working armed private investigations, right? Well, it depends. If I'm doing like an infidelity case, I actually stopped doing those. I was not interested in it. I was not interested in them at all in the beginning, and I just took these cases just because I had nothing else. But let's just say you're doing one of these cases, right? Wife hires you to surveil her husband, who's a little bit abusive, right? Who has been unfaithful to her, and you're over here doing an investigation. Like he wants you to find out where his lover's at, right? Okay, this person comes up to you with a baseball bat and starts knocking out your windows, right? Okay, drags you out of the car and attempts to strike you with a bat. We all know that that's cause, in many cases, that's cause for lethal force. Okay, so you place a well-centered shots into the upper thoracic region where you're trained to, and this person passes away. As a private investigator, have you fulfilled your objective? Have you fulfilled your mission? Think about that. You're hired to record, to document his activities involving an affair, right? You haven't finished the job because he hasn't had an opportunity to go to the new girlfriend's house because you just killed him. Have you accomplished your mission? And I would say no. You did not accomplish your mission. And I would say that you failed at your mission. Right? Your job wasn't to take out the life of this husband, because this is what's going to happen, right? She is going to sue the living crap out of you and your company for wrongful death. Right? And you're going to prevail eventually, but you're going to go through like 5 years of litigation. You're going to spend all this money on an attorney. And do you think that she's going to have your back? Okay, do you think all of a sudden, you know, when they ask her about the abuse and everything else, you think she's going to say, yeah, he was an abusive husband? Like, no. She's going to play the part of the widow. Like, oh, now I'm a widow. My children don't have a dad anymore. And for this reason, I'm losing out millions of dollars a year, or $5 million or $3 million over his possible lifetime, and he had 30 more years to live. Did you do the kids a favor? Like the children. He got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old boy and a girl. Did you do them a favor? Well, now they don't have a dad, and you might be saying, well, he was abusive to mom, right? I agree. But do the kids understand that? Now you might be here saying, well, Sean, like you're totally justified. No, yes, you are justified. You were justified at that point in time. But did you accomplish your mission? No, you didn't. And you just created another situation. Well, he created another situation, right? So that's just something to think about. My plan, like if I'm getting attacked, it'd be to drive away. Like I'm not going to engage in any gunfight unless I'm really cornered and I have no other choice, right? I mean, like, look, if you're in a car and you have a way out and the guy starts bashing your windows in, yeah, you could take him out with a well-placed shot. But for me personally, if I'm working private investigations, my last resort is that gun, and I'm gonna speed off. Right? I'm gonna speed off and get the hell out of there. Avoid the whole situation. It's just not worth it. But again, there's some people, oh yeah, well, you have to defend your life. No, I agree. You have to defend your life. But had you have to go through something like that, like actually taking someone's life? And are you ready to get photographed by the district attorney's office? Have potential charges filed against you for homicide? Have you had that happen? Have you ever had your Miranda rights read to you? Think about that. I've had my Miranda rights read to me before, and it's a dead air situation. It just feels like your life is just like turning around on you, right? It just feels like everything is just so silent when they start reading your Miranda rights. It's not a good feeling. Pre-surveillance investigations are that essential, guys. That essential. Stop taking the cases where somebody does aggravated battery. Even, look, battery, when you're doing your pre-investigation activities, an assault or a battery charge, followed by maybe like violation of a court order or resisting arrest, and a weapons charge. If I have all three, I'm for sure not taking that case. I'm for sure not taking the case because I might have to use some type of force against against the target. And that's not even my objective is not to take out the target. It's not to defend my life. That's not the object. The mission is whatever you agreed with the client. Record the day-to-day activities. Record this person going from point A to point B. Testify in family court later on if you need to, right? That is actually my objective. Just things to think about, guys. There's always that person, I got a gun. I'm the baddest mofo on the block, right? Because I got a gun. I got a 45 caliber, or I got my 9. And you're not the baddest person on the block. You're not the baddest person on the block. Some people have to get humbled, and that's unfortunately the case. These procedures don't become a reality until it actually happens to you. And you are trying to say the right words just to preserve your own insanity or sanity and preserve your liberty. So that's all I got, guys. If you're in the private investigations community or security, and if you've done some pre-investigative work, like pre-surveillance work, let us know if you denied a case. I don't want to get on another tangent, but I deny those cases where somebody says, "Oh, I would like you to find and locate Sally Sue from high school. Like, she hasn't contacted me since high school. It's 30 years from now, and I'm just curious on what she's up to." Well, number one, it's kind of creepy, right? Why do you need to hire a private investigator to find your high school sweetheart from 30 years ago? If she hasn't or he hasn't contacted you in 30 years, that person probably doesn't care. But since I've been a private investigator, when I was more active, I probably got like 30 cases, or I'm sorry, 30 inquiries regarding that type of work to be performed, and I denied every single case. So I want to hear from you guys. I definitely want to hear from you guys. We all want to hear from you guys on all the topics discussed today. Take care, guys.